The rain hammered against the crestwood mansion windows, mimicking the dull throb in Mr. Harding's ribs. He's taken a dose of the painkillers, but they only dulled the ache, not the nagging sense of unease that clung to him like the damp city air. Lila Monroe, draped in black silk and smelling faintly of lilies and desperation, offered him another cup of lukewarm tea. He declined. "You're pushing yourself too hard, Mr. Harding," she murmured, her voice a fragile whisper. "Arthur wouldn't want you to suffer." Harding ignored the thinly veiled bob. "Mr. Demarco wasn't forthcoming at the docks," he said, his gaze fixed on the rain-streaked glass. "He claimed Arthur was expecting a shipment. Said he left him waking." Lila's knuckles whitened as she gripped her teacup. Sal is a simple man, easily intimidated. Perhaps he's afraid. "Afraid of what, Mrs. Monroe?" "A delivery of Egyptian statuettes." Harding's tone was deliberately casual, but his eyes were sharp, assessing. He hadn't liked Demarco's nervousness, the way his eyes darted around, avoiding direct contact. Someone was protecting someone. Edward Blackwood, who had been silently observing from a shadowed corner of the room, finally spoke. His voice was smooth, laced with condescension. "Sal is loyal to the Monroe family, Mr. Harding. You're barking up the wrong tree. Loyalty's a convenient shield, Mr. Blackwood. It often hides something far less admirable." Harding stood, ignoring the flare of pain in his ribs. "I need to speak with Demarco again. Alone." Lila's expression tightened. "That's not necessary, Mr. Harding. He's already told you everything he knows." "Then he's holding back, and I intend to find out why." He turned to Blackwood. "You're welcome to join us, if you feel you can shed further light on this loyalty of Mr. Demarco's." Blackwood smiled and reached his eyes. "I'm afraid I have pressing engagements, Mr. Harding. Perhaps you're overreacting. Arthur was involved in complicated ventures. He might have simply gone away." Harding's gaze was unwavering. "People don't simply go away, Mr. Blackwood, especially when they owe someone a considerable sum of money." He paused, letting the unspoken threat hang in the air. "I'm not interested in pleasantries, Mr. Blackwood. I'm interested in the truth." The rain intensified, a relentless drumming against the mansion's facade. Harding walked out, ignoring Lila's plea to stay. He found a cab waiting at the curb and directed the driver towards the docks. The pain in his ribs was a constant reminder of his physical vulnerability, but he refused to be deterred. He had a feeling this case was going to be a long and dangerous one. Warehouse number 7 reeked of brine, fish, and desperation. Sal Demarco, looking even more uncomfortable than he had at the mansion, stood hunched over a stack of crates. 2 burly men flanked him, their faces impassive, their hands resting on the holsters beneath their coats. "You aren't being entirely honest with me, Mr. Demarco," Harding said, his voice low and steady. Demarco swallowed hard, his atoms apple-bobbing nervously. "I told you everything I know, Mr. Harding. Honest." "Did you now? You neglected to mention the woman." Demarco's eyes widened slightly. "Woman?" "Yes, Mr. Demarco. A woman who visited Arthur the night he disappeared. A woman who seemed quite anxious about the shipment." The 2 men flanking Demarco shifted slightly, their hands tightening on their holsters. I don't know nothing about no woman, Mr. Harding." Harding leaned closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Don't insult my intelligence, Mr. Demarco. I know she was here. I know she spoke with Arthur. And I believe you know who she is." He pulled a photograph from his coat pocket, a faded image of a woman with dark, haunting eyes and a defiant tilt to her chin. "Recognize her?" Demarco's face drained of color. He opened his mouth to speak, then abruptly clamped it shut. One of the men flanking him gave him a subtle nudge. "She's a friend of the collector," Demarco mumbled, his voice barely audible above the rain. "Her name is Vivienne Dubois. She handles his delicate transactions." "The collector," Harding repeated, a name tasting like ash in his mouth. He's heard whispers of the collector, a shadowy figure who dealt in stolen antiquities, a man whose influence stretched far beyond the docks. And what, pray tell, was Vivienne Dubois' delicate transaction with Arthur Monroe? Demarco hesitated, his eyes darting nervously between Harding and his silent guardians. "She was concerned about the statuettes. Said there was a problem with the provements. Something about a hieroglyphic locket." "A locket?" Harding's interest piqued. "Describe it." "Gold, small. Had a portrait on it. The woman looked like Mrs. Monroe." Demarco's voice trembled. "She said it was important. Very important. Had to secret." Harding's gaze drifted to the rain-swept docks, his mind piecing together the fragments of this increasingly complex puzzle. Vivienne Dubois, the collector, a missing hieroglyphic locket, and a wealthy widow with secrets of her own. He had a feeling this case was about far more than stolen statuettes. He glanced back at Demarco, his expression unreadable. "You're protecting someone, Mr. Demarco, and you're going to regret it." He turned and walked away, the rain stinging his face. Back at his office, Harding stared at the photograph pinned above his desk, the one with the inscription "Not hers." He ran his finger over the faded image of a young woman with a mischievous smile and eyes that held a hint of sadness. She bore a striking resemblance to Vivienne Dubois. Who was she, and what was her connection to Lila Monroe? The phone rang. It was Lila Monroe. "Mr. Harding." Her voice was strained, almost frantic. "You need to stop. You're digging too deep. You don't understand the forces you're dealing with." "I understand perfectly, Mrs. Monroe," Harding said, his voice calm despite the tremor of unease that ran through him. "You're afraid." "Leave it alone, Mr. Harding," she pleaded, "for your own good." Then the line went dead. Harding looked out at the rain-soaked city, a sense of foreboding settling in his stomach. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that he had only scratched the surface of this case. The collector was more powerful than he had imagined, and Lila Monroe was holding back more than he could possibly fathom. He knew that he was walking into a trap, but he also knew that he couldn't stop now. The truth was out there, hidden beneath layers of lies and secrets, and he, Mr. Harding, was going to find it, no matter the cost.